Hi, everybody. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live. This is broadcast number 64. Can you believe it? And today we're going to talk about how to fix pitch problems. I'm going to give you 5 tips. So, welcome all of you who have joined me early, just a few minutes early. This is the pre-show show. We'll be starting regular show in about 3 minutes or so. So, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever been flat or sharp when you've sung a song? When you've been singing, have you ever had anybody say you're flat or you're pitch, you're pitchy today or what have you? Let me know in the comment section below. It's it's a it's it's frightening to hear that, because you could panic and sometimes we don't know what to do and we're going to talk about that today. So, how's everybody doing? Supia, hi. Trippy, Eupadios, Francisco Prado, hoy. The Bridge is with us today. Altu, great to have you guys. I want to make sure that you can hear and see okay. I think I've gotten myself pictured today, so I have been known to speak for minutes without being seen. So anyway, I want to welcome you here with me today. It's a beautiful day in Utah. It's cold. Not too bad though. Maybe 35, 40 degrees today. So this is a problem that many people have. This pitch issue, and it's something that can cause a great deal of worry and concern and consternation. So we're going to address some things specifically today, and this was requested this week by one of my subscribers, and I thought it'd be a good topic to talk about. So. Want to make sure, it looks like everybody can hear and see. Just want to make sure. Looks like everybody's a go. So what about it? Have you ever been flat or sharp in a song? Or has anyone ever told you that? Okay, so hi everybody. This is Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live, number 64. And today we're going to talk about how to fix pitch problems when you're singing. I'm going to give you 5 tips. So I want to welcome you all today who've joined me, and this is going to be a great topic. What about it? Have you ever been flat or sharp? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm really curious. Maybe I'm talking to a group of people who've never ever been flat or never been sharp. They're always right on the pitch. I know I haven't been. I remember one time many of you who may be familiar with my story, when I was 19 years old, I was serving as a missionary for my church, and I was in California, and they asked me if I would sing a song at Christmas time, and I sang, and I had pitch problems. I knew I did, and I knew everybody that heard me knew I did, and I was so discouraged by that. It just I can't tell you how difficult this was for me because I had been performing a lot in my high school time. But I knew that I had a pitch problem as I got a little bit higher into my voice. So we're going to talk about it today. It's one of the causes of pitch problems. Now, what about you guys? Ever had a situation like that happen? Okay, so let me just shout out to Che Hayden. Hello. Nice to have you with us today. And Petros, LTDO, hi from Brazil. Great to have you here today. Joe Weston, hi. You made it. She says she's glad to be here. No more sore throat. Isn't that great? Thanks. She said she can hear and see me loud and clear. Fantastic. And Burku Kasar, hi everybody. Burku, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. I apologize, but wonderful to have you here today. Berno Inferno. Hi, Chuck and everyone. 9 p.m. here in the UK. Thanks for joining me, joining our group today. Jelena, Gerbik, hello. A what? Subiat, 2:27 a.m. Now that is true dedication. Did you set an alarm and get up, or have you been waiting and just been staying up late? Chris Spinelli, he said it's not as easy to tune your voice as it is to tune your guitar. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be nice? And then have it stay tuned the whole time. Roberto says she's from Turkey, 12 a.m. Mindy, hey, made it today. Awesome. I was thinking about you this morning, Mindy, wondering how things were going. So welcome today. Great to have you here. Okay, so thank you, Burko. She said you can hear me, and good to see you too. Ellie Demo, yes, I find that I have to close the pitch or zip it up, if that makes sense. Do you have a better way of explaining it? Well, let me see. We'll find out today. So, Jelena says that I think it's late in Serbia, 10 p.m. Okay, Subia says, I guess my pitch is fine, but still sometimes I cannot tell the difference between some keys that sound a little bit familiar to me. Yeah, sometimes we feel lost. We're not really certain on that, and that can be a very big challenge as well. Berno, when performing on stage, the main pitch problems I have is when I can't hear the tune in comparison to my own voice. Yes, sometimes the monitors aren't adequate to get the feedback to your ear to know that you're on, and that can be a real challenge. And I had a cold in my ear during my last performance, and I actually was struggling because I kind of felt like I was underwater on this one side. And it's hard if you don't have adequate monitors to give you the music and so forth. Now that's in musical theater, but I know live performing with a band or group is the same, and I know a lot of you wear monitors in earpieces. So, but it still sometimes can be difficult to hear it. Okay, so Glenn B. Hi, Glenn. Great to have you with us today. And Subi says, I think when I used to sing in choir, I used to go flat sometimes because I couldn't hear my voice. My biggest problem, Joe says, is being flat was when I was trying to connect chest voice to head voice. Ah, interesting. Okay, we're going to touch on that today, Joe. I think that's a really good point. And Shay says, I've been having pitch problems with the song I'm working on now. I feel like when I go into my mix belt, it sounds flat. Okay, so some awesome comments. Thanks, you guys. Lots of participation today. And I'll get back to, I think we're pretty well caught up on questions, but I want to allow some time for question and answer today. So, let's get right down to, I'm going to talk about, first of all, what I'm not really going to address is a condition called Amusia, which is a condition, and I don't know if you'll be able to read this or not. It's so small for my eyes. Can you guys even, it doesn't look like it's even visible. So, bear with me here. Let me just read a little bit of this. Amusia is a musical disorder that appears mainly as a defect in the processing pitch. Also encompasses musical memory and recognition. There's two classifications: acquired amusia, which occurs as a result of like brain damage, or congenital amusia, which results from a music processing anomaly present since birth. And so, that's also referred to as being tone deaf. And that's a different issue than what we're talking about today. I'm talking about singers who go flat or sharp sometimes. Having a congenital problem from birth that you can't simply process the pitch, or you can't hear it, or can't match it with your voice, that's really tough. And most people with that condition, if you want to learn to sing, it's going to be years. It will take you years. and it's not the quality of your voice. It's being able to match the pitch. So that's a different challenge, and I'm not going to address that today. We're going to be talking about singers who have pitch issues. So let's talk about issue or situation number one. Here's the first help that I'm going to give you. And I think Joe mentioned this, that when she got close to her bridge, she could tell that she was going off pitch. And I think that was you, Joe. I had the same experience when I was in high school. I remember I was asked to sing, we were doing a choir number, and I think it's called Turtle Dove or something. And it was one of our numbers that we performed regularly in my madrigal group, who we ended up going to Europe. I mean, it was a serious group. We toured 3 weeks in Europe, and anyway, we cut an album. My song didn't make the album, and I could tell there were times. I don't know if it was every time, but I could tell there were times I was going flat. And I know that if I recall correctly, the top note was the D above middle C, well, right next to my bridge. And so I didn't understand the bridge. I just thought I was like right next to the top of my voice. So the problem with pitch can occur when you're singing close to your bridge and you don't know how to transition through the bridge into your head voice. Now, the notes didn't go up there, but once you learn how to bridge, in other words, go from your low voice, chest, I call chest voice, to the high notes, which we call head voice. If you know how to do that, then you've got a lot more notes to sing. So now, if you don't know, then becomes very, very high for you, and it was for me in high school. And so when I was getting close to or on that note, there were sometimes I was struggling so hard that I couldn't get the pitch, so I was slightly under the pitch. And the opposite problem can occur. We can push it so hard that we actually go sharp. So flat and sharp are often caused by the same problem. In this case, not knowing how to bridge. So the solution is you must learn how to bridge. And I'll talk about, most of you who have joined me today already know how to go about learning how to bridge. And many of you have learned how to bridge, and I'm very excited for you. If you do, now in my case, that D, the first note above middle C, is no longer high for me. And so I don't have the pitch problems there that I did when it was literally the top of my voice. So by learning how to bridge, you can, and I find this in students. They'll come into my studio and they'll say, yeah, I have a problem with my pitch. I can't hit the notes and I go flat or sharp. And when I take them through some exercises, guess what their problem is? It's bridging. It's not that they can't hear the pitch. It's they just don't know what to do when they get to that note that's next to the bridge or in the bridge or even above the bridge. And so there's tension introduced. It's just, it's as soon as it starts to squeeze and get tight, we go sharp or flat. And by learning how to bridge, you're able to transition into those higher notes, and now the notes that you thought were high are no longer high. And so your confidence changes. You know you can hit the higher notes, and you just simply can sing them better because you know how to bridge. That's fix number one. And I'll show you in a couple of minutes, if you need help. I'll show you on my website how you can learn how to bridge. So let me check in with you here, those who've joined me. How are you? Yasser Azizi. Great to have you, Yasser. How about beginners who are just learning pitch? I get 5-year-old kids who come in and start singing, and they could just sing the daylights out of every song, and they're right on pitch. and they didn't learn how to, they just did it. Their voice just. I have a grandson who's now 5 years old, and when he was 2, he was singing on the pitch of things on the radio. How do you do that? Nobody taught him. He could his voice just matched the pitch. For most of us, thankfully, it's kind of that way. Now, I know, I don't know, what did you guys do to learn? You probably listened to music a lot when you were younger. And you maybe sang along with the radio or YouTube or your friends or, whatever. You sang at church or wherever they were singing, you sang. And that's a one way to learn learn pitch. Joining a choir is a great way to learn pitch. So there are things that you can do in terms of beginners. Yasser, those are some things. Listen to the radio. Sing along with whenever there's an opportunity to sing. Join a choir. Go to wherever if you are a member of a faith community and they sing, go to your community and sing with them. So there's a lot of those things that you can do. Singing in school was always something that I remember doing from the very beginning. So I was fortunate in that. And I sang, my parents told me I sang all the time in the house, just sang all the time. I remember my brother and I turning on a radio, or a record player we had. In the olden days, it was called a 45. And it was Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley. Anybody know that song? Anyway, we sang, we probably wore a hole in that record. We just sat and listened to that, and on the other side of it was some song about the Erie Canal. Well, we sang and sang and sang and sang. So that's really probably one of the best ways of developing your ear for pitch. Okay, so let's talk about point number 2. Develop a balanced vibrato. So many times when we sing a straight tone, if there's no vibrato, the edges of the tone oftentimes are rough, and it's so easy for the tone to kind of drop down or be pushed up so that it goes flat or sharp. The vibrato tends to round out the tone so that it heals the tone. You can just tell how there's a roundness that comes into play when the vibrato starts. And it's but the other issue is if we don't have vibrato, it's probably because there's too much tension or there's some other imbalance in the voice. So learning vibrato is a really helpful fix for pitch problems, and even on all pitches. And that's the challenge we face. We want to be able to sing all the pitches. Even at the top of our bridges, right in the smack dab in the middle of the bridge and below the bridge. We need to be able to have that vibrato going in every, on all of the pitches throughout all the different parts of your voice. So that's a fix number 2. Now again, there's places on my website where you can go to get help to learn how to do vibrato if you don't already. So let me say a quick hi to VC. Hi, VC. Nice to have you with us. Jed Tea. He said, this is my problem before. Now I'm working on every songs that really suits my voice. Okay. Joe says, pitch is something you hear or you don't as a child. You just have an ear for it, and I think that's true. I think it makes a difference. And I don't know. I wish I did know. But I'm working with a student now who is musical. I mean, I think he's played the piano in the past, and I've had other students who were keyboard players but still struggled matching their voice to the pitch. Now, this student that I'm working with now is improving, but he's been coming for a year, and he practices regularly, but it's getting markedly better. So it takes work, but it can be done. For the rest of us who just kind of are able to do it somehow, it's easier. It just is easier for us. But we still have pitch problems when we sing because we don't know how to bridge or we can't do vibrato. So these are things that we can fix. Subia says, actually, I listened to music a lot when I was a kid, and singing in choirs helped. Ditto for that, on that, Subia, for sure. Eupadios, vibrato is pitch cheating. Probably it is, because but the process of that, there are other things that are happening that are physically contributing to an improved tone, and that is we usually have to have more of a balance of air and muscle, less tension in the voice. We have to be able to do it on different vowels and in different locations of our voices, and just the process of learning how to do that also helps the tone and helps the pitch. So Yasser, he says, I can see pitch, but I lose my voice when I'm trying to hit most of the notes. Maybe some of the things we talk about today are going to help, Yasser. Subia says, developing vibrato is a little difficult. I have it, but sometimes it gets lost because I don't know the technique properly. You know what? If it's starting, it's going to continue to develop. So the fact that it's starting is great. It's great news. And James, nice to have you with us here. Thanks for the help with fixing pitch problems. Now, let's talk about fix number 3. We've talked about learn to bridge, and these are all things within our grasp. Learning vibrato. Now, I did not have vibrato until I was 43 years old, or 44. And I'd grown up and had been told by my own voice teacher with her master's degree in vocal performance that if you weren't born with vibrato, you don't have it. And she was wrong. You can develop it. You can develop vibrato. And there's a video I've done, a couple of videos on my website, which I'll show you in a minute, that show at least 5 or 6 ways of developing vibrato. Okay, let's take number 3. Take voice lessons that promote good vocal technique that will balance the voice by eliminating tension. Tension is really a big problem because when the neck muscles surrounding the voice box, the vocal cords are right here, right behind the larynx. When there's tension surrounding this the structure, the larynx, and there's a little extra squeezing going on, it's so easy for us to get off pitch-wise. And so learning good singing technique probably has had more impact on my improved pitch through the years than anything else I've done. And I'm not saying that because I teach. I'm saying it because that's what happened to me. By studying voice, I got better. And by studying the technique that I teach, and I'm not shy about that, it changed things for me in a big way. Because I learned how to bridge. I learned how to do vibrato. I learned all these things. I learned about vowel modifying, we're going to talk about next. I learned more about using my diaphragm and so forth. I actually had quite a bit of that from my teacher in high school. So learning good technique, ladies and gentlemen, there's hardly any substitute for that because it can open the door to wonderful, amazing things that we didn't know we could do, and now we can, and it's like a game changer. It's a serious game changer, life-changing. It has been for me. So it's so worth the investment. It's so worth the investment of time and money and effort and energy and blood, sweat, and tears. At least it has been for me. So Subi says, I guess fluctuation between two pitches is vibrato. Yeah, exactly. Amir. Hi, Amir. Nice to have you with us. Zarkani. Hello, this is Amir from Egypt. I don't know if you remember me or not. I have pitch problem with low notes. Okay, why do you... So one of the issues that I've seen with my personal low notes is that my larynx, if my larynx is too high, then when I come down for the low notes, if my larynx is up, I can't, on a Saturday morning I can hit that. A little scratchy today, but for some reason during a show, maybe I'm in the ensemble and I'm singing along and it's a G and I can't hit the G. But I know I can hit the G, but not today. So what causes that? Well, my larynx is up because I've been singing too hard, too loud. I've been trying to outsing the guy next to me, and because I want to hear my own voice, and that's the recipe for the larynx going up and adding tension. And if the larynx is high, there's tension and so forth, and you go down to hit those low notes, they're not there. They're not there. That's frustrating. And so you're sharp, or you don't even get close to it. That's one cause of it. Another cause could be that the chord structure is not altogether coming together. So if you come down, and you just can't get to it, it might just be that the vocal cords need to be adducted, brought together more firmly. Na 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 na, nay 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 nay. Something like that will help get the vocal cords together, and then you find that the pitch becomes doable. The pitch becomes accessible to you. That's another possibility for that. Let's go on to number 4. Learn the secrets to modifying the vowel in words that are close to, in, or above the bridge. An open vowel, or sometimes called a wide vowel, is the primary culprit for pitch problems. What does that mean? Well, if I sing love, if I spread my vowel and love goes to lav, that vowel splats, it goes wide, and more often than not, the pitch goes bad as well. So if I said la, and it gets harder, and I'm just doing it in chest, maybe, then I push it so it goes sharp, or I'm squeezing it so hard it's going flat, or I can't do the vibrato because it's so hard to do. Now, one of the things that the principle behind vowel modifying is you take a word like lav or love, and you modify the vowel. In the case, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll say to a student, think as if you were going to say the word look, love. So instead of saying love, 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 it's surprising how much it sounds like love, even though I'm thinking look, and the miracle of it is it keeps it in your mix of your head voice. It rounds it off. It allows you to get vibrato. And there's just extreme power behind vowel modifying. Now, I'm going to show you where you can find that on my website. But that is a huge, huge help. Oh, my gosh. Every show I'm in, pretty much, I have to visit. I analyze my music, and I determine where I'm going to have some challenges with vowels that are in the bridge, close to the bridge, or up above the bridge into head voice, and I modify them, and it makes a very challenging, hard word doable. It keeps me in my mix, keeps my pitch correct, and life is good. So that's a really, really big tip. I'll show you where you can find that information in a second. Let me just check in here and see who else has joined us. Jed Tea. It's been a while. I haven't booked in your lessons. Hope you remember me. Jed, it has been a while. I'm thinking you're like from Canada. Is that right? All 3 sessions I took helped. Great. Awesome. Thank you, Jed. I'm glad to hear that. Subia says, can you do a video on dynamics? Do you mean loud and soft? The dynamics, is that what you're talking about? Or crescendo, decrescendo, or something like that? Subia, let me clarify that. Audie, Freiberger. Chuck, I admire your work. I'm also a professional singer and a voice teacher in France. Awesome, Audie. Thanks for joining us today. It's got to be late where you are, too. Glad you're here. And I love you, too. Yasser, you're from Morocco. Cool. So cool. I would love to go to every country represented today. That would be so fun. And it would be a worldwide tour. I would love that. Okay, Marty. Bear, thanks from Canada. You bet, Marty. Antonio, nice to have so many of you with us today. Thanks from Cape Verde. Cool. Nice to have you with us, Antonio. Sylvia, vowel modification helps. Yes. Jed, okay, I thought. Thanks. I'm glad to confirm that you're from Canada. Okay. Okay, Sylvia says, yeah, loud and soft. All right, so maybe that's something we can look at. I'll take a look at that, Subia, and see if I can come up with something, or maybe we'll do a live broadcast on it. It's actually a little harder than it sounds. It shouldn't be, should it? Just get louder or get softer. Okay, number 5. This is the last fix. And it really, if you add all these 5 together, it's going to take a while to really get them down. But these will have such a big impact on your singing, and it will certainly have a big impact on our pitch capability. So number 5 is let the diaphragm assist in your breathing. Now, there's not much, probably the easiest, best way for me to deal with that is to demonstrate. I'm going to demonstrate the diaphragm, okay? So I might get a little ways away from the microphone here, but so very simply, here's my tummy. The diaphragm is kind of shaped like this and like an umbrella, and it's up underneath my rib cage, okay? And when it flattens out, it pulls down like this. And as it does, my tummy comes out. You see how it comes out? So as this flattens, my stomach drops, or my stomach comes out, and it also pulls air into my lungs. It creates a vacuum, and that vacuum created by the diaphragm dropping and the tummy coming out brings that air in, and it feels like the air is going into my stomach. It's not. It's going to my lungs. But kind of a make-believe image you can have is pretend like there's a balloon in your tummy, and when the tummy comes out, it's like filling up this balloon down here, okay? So you're filling up with air. And then as you use your air, you pull your tummy in gently. It really will pretty much go in by itself. But so tummy out, air in. I'm going to reload. Now I'm filled up with air again. So, tummy out, air in. As you're using the air, with your singing, you pull the tummy in, and then when you need another drop of air, another batch of air, tummy out, air in. And now, how does that help with pitch? Particularly if I've found that, number one, it gives me a constant supply of air. How many times you've been singing, you run out of air? And that's not great for pitch. But on the upper notes, I find that a little bit more firm use of the diaphragm is helpful, especially if I have to hold it for very long. So if I go F sharp to F sharp, this is the top of my bridge. And I said, well, that's, sometimes it's like a jump from a low note to a high note, and you just need that extra little bump that the diaphragm gives. So you can kind of pull it in as you're doing that. So, so it's just a little bit of, it seems to give it a little more solidity when I drop the diaphragm and then pull it back in when I have to make particularly a larger interval jump, like that was an octave. And those kinds of notes come up all the time in the different music we're singing. Or maybe we have to hold it for a longer time. That's the benefit of you allowing the diaphragm to assist your breathing, to help you with your breathing. And so I have found it to be very, very helpful. Okay, so that's the 5 things. Let me just check in and say hi again. Ender, S.A., what's our mind's role in improving our singing? Wow, great question and comment. The mind is huge. There are some of us who start out with this complete, absolute confidence, and we just know we can do it, and we don't have a problem with it, and we just do it. I wasn't one of those. I came from, I had all this up and down. When I was little, I just sang my heart out, and then you start worrying about what other people think, and then you get part of the play, and your confidence goes up, and so it's like this. But really, I found that my mind became much more positive when I knew what I was doing. When I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know what was going to come out of my mouth. Now I can do an F sharp to an F sharp, skip an octave, go to the top of my bridge. First of all, I didn't know how to do that some years ago, and it would terrified me. So mentally, I would have not even considered it as a possibility. So I would say that by learning some of the skills that we talked about today, some of these fixes, that your mental outlook on things improves greatly. And because if you know how to do it, then your confidence increases significantly in a major way. So I think that knowledge and skill precedes the growth and confidence of our mental outlook on our singing. That's the best way I can put it. And then let me tell you, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. You accept challenges, and you're excited about the high notes, and it's like, man, I think I could actually show off a little bit here. I mean, it's just really fun. That's a huge difference than where I used to be many years ago, now over 20 years ago, where I just didn't know what to do, didn't know how to do it. So great question, Ender. Subia, come to India first. Awesome. I saw a really great show the other day. It's called The Viceroy or something like that, with Hugh something, Bonneville, and Mulder not Mulder, what's her name? Anyway, the one that played, now I'm going to go blank on it. Anyway, it was an awesome show. I really enjoyed it and taught me a lot about some of the Indian history, Subia. I invite you, book your flight. Thank you. That would be a blast. Okay, thanks so much. Subia says, Joe, meant that for Ender. Oh, okay, great. All right. Okay, so conversation, I don't mean to get in your guys' way. Please feel free to chat along. Yasser says, come on, guys and girls, hit some likes if you learn something new. Hey, well, that's nice, Yasser. Yeah, give me, hit some likes. And, I don't know if it even stays. This is what, it would be really nice, is when this broadcast is over, to go back and maybe make some comments or, give some thumbs up. Because I think YouTube right now, and Facebook, all the comments and everything stays. But on YouTube, once the broadcast is over, it's like it restarts the button. Anyway, thanks, Yasser. That's great. Very kind of you to say that. Ender says, love what you do and do what you love. Yeah. Thanks. It's a wonderful way to live. So James says, yes, sir, the knowledge I have been learning about how to approach singing has greatly improved my mental outlook on my voice. Yeah, and I think we all feel that. And it's a very exciting, wonderful thing. It just, your whole outlook changes. Jackley, nice to have you here, Jack. I always want to hit some high note, but I can't. Okay, so let me take a minute here. And Arthur, this is Art in London. Awesome, Art. Nice to see you. And Subia says, if you have that love for singing, then nothing can stop you. Okay, so I kind of need to wrap this up a little bit. I've got a student coming in here in a few minutes. So let me just take a moment and show you some things on the website. And this won't take but a minute because I want to show you where you can get help with bridging, where do you get help with vowels, with breathing, with... what was the other thing that I wanted to show you? Bridging, breathing, vowels, vibrato, okay? So let me quickly review this with you. All right, so here we go. If you go to powertosing.com, and I hope you can see this. Let me see here if I can enlarge this just slightly, so that it's... All right, so you go to the Knowledge Center, and I'm going to be doing this for you here. So go to the Knowledge Center. The Knowledge Center has some a column on the right-hand side here where if you scroll down, it'll say Knowledge Center Categories, and you select the categories. And let me see here. You need to be able to see this. So I'm going to have to make this a little bit smaller to get this thing on the screen. Oh, wrong way. Sorry about that. Let me just slide this up here. Okay, so you see this Knowledge Center Categories. You click on that, and there are just tons of things here. Oop, tons of things to look at. So hit the Knowledge Center categories, select the category, and I don't see it. I don't see that. Oh, I know what I've got to do. I think I have to hold on with me here just a second. I think this is, there we go. Okay. So number one, bridging. You can search the topics by category. So you can hit the bridging. There's also major helps with vibrato. Let's see, you're not seeing what I'm seeing here. I don't think. I don't know why exactly. Let me just try this again. Oops, that's not it. Well, let me see. Try this again. So the problem I'm facing right now is what I'm showing you doesn't appear to be live. But I don't know exactly why. So from what I can see on the screen, the second category here is the Knowledge Center categories, and you can click on Vibrato, or you can click on Vowel Modifying. Vowel Modifying is a really important one. Let's go to that one for a second and see if the screen will change for you. All right, it's probably just not showing the download. So if you will scroll over to older entries, it's like number 6, and it'll show you episode 25. Episode 25 is has vowel modifying hacks, okay? And vowel modifying hacks, there's actually a PDF here that will have really helpful suggestions on that you can download right there. And you can get vowel modifying hacks that will help you modify the vowel and also improve your pitch. Last of all, if you go to the one on breathing, the category on breathing, there'll be several really great videos about helping with help from the diaphragm. And so that's, I think, episode 15 and episode 16. Yeah, so 15 and 16. So if you go back to the home screen and just take a look at, on the home screen, there's the power test. You've seen this before. Some of you have already done this. In terms of learning how to bridge, if you can watch the video for explanation, but you record your voice while you sing along to this. You hit the start playing button, and for either men or women, you be sure and click the correct button, and then you will sing ah, and after that you'll take a test to get your vocal type, and your vocal type will tell you where to go now in the Knowledge Center. You might be a flip falsetto or pull chest high larynx or light chest no chest. Click on the video or on the vocal type that's your vocal type, and then you can watch exercises. You can watch an explanation of what your vocal type is, examples of professionals who are actually this vocal type. But the big thing is you can download free exercises to help you learn, for your vocal type. These will help you learn to bridge. And so there's help basically on every item that we talked about today. So I hope that is helpful for you, and that this has been a productive session. Let me just take a look and just finalize any questions that may have come up with that rather run-on explanation of how to get help. And with that, if not, then we'll probably we'll wrap this up. So Arthur, thank you. Said he's learned much from me. I really appreciate that. Joe says, I love this lesson. I love music, making music. And thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Shay says, I'm working on the song Good Girl, Wendy Foster from Tuck Everlasting for a miscast cabaret night. Cool. And I constantly go flat on words like raise and day. All right. So on raise, Che, pronounce it as if you were going to say raise, R-E-Z, raise, or R-E-S, or however you want to say that. But it's like you're from Ireland. You say raise. So if I said raise, it's going to be hard. If I said raise, raise. Okay? And now that's example I got from that PDF that I was talking about. So you can get that PDF and it'll have all those cheats on it. Day has two sounds to it. Day. Go quickly to the E sound. It's very similar to raise. Day, like you're spelling a day-E-Y. Good day to you. So I said, day! It's too much A. So if I modify that to the second part of the vowel, to the E, day, 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 day. It'll come out and sound like day. Those are two suggestions that will help you. Chuck, how can I get an online lesson? How do I go about doing that? Go to my website that I was just on, powertosing.com, and up in the menu there's a Work With Me drop down. Just go to that, Work With Me, and then you can schedule a lesson there. It's simple. Subia, maybe that's happening because of the vowel pronunciation. You need to modify vowels. Yep. So, okay, thanks everybody. Love you all. Really had a great time today with you. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing. You can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power, and better pitch. See you inside the next video. Thanks.